Solve 2x minus 6 equals 2 times the quantity x minus 3. Again, we're going to want to start by distributing the 2 on the right-hand side so that we can simplify the equation. When we do that, 2 times x gives us 2x, and then minus 2 times 3 is 6. On the left-hand side, we still have the 2x and the negative 6. Now again, we're stuck with a situation where there are variable terms on both sides, so we need to eliminate one of those. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. When I do that, the variable terms on the left cancel. 2x minus 2x is 0, and 0 minus 6 is negative 6. And on the right-hand side, we're also left with negative 6. So after we subtract 2x from both sides, we're left with negative 6 equals negative 6. Now, we know that it's true that negative 6 equals negative 6. On Saturday, negative 6 equals negative 6. On Monday, negative 6 equals negative 6. In New York, negative 6 equals negative 6. This equation is always true. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is, doesn't matter where we are, and it actually doesn't matter what x is. This is always true. And what that means is that the original equation is always true no matter what x is. In a situation like this, we conclude all real numbers. The reason we conclude all real numbers is because x can be any number, and so all numbers are solutions. You might wonder why we have the word real here. Later on, you will learn about imaginary numbers. Right now, we're only dealing with real numbers. So we say all real numbers are solutions to this equation. And another way that we can reference this situation, this is called an identity, an equation that's always true. All right. Now here, if you want to try something nifty, you can pick any number you want and plug it into this equation, and it should be true. I'm going to do a couple of numbers, but you should try at least one on your own so that you can know that it works for any number and not just the numbers I pick. So let's try x equals 0. That's always a good number to plug in. It's pretty easy. We've got 2 times x, which is 0, minus 6 equals 2 times the quantity x, which is 0, minus 3. Now on the left, 2 times 0 is 0, so we have 0 minus 6 on the left. On the right, in the parentheses, 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Now when we finish on the left, 0 minus 6 is negative 6. On the right, 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Because negative 6 equals negative 6, that tells us that 0 was a solution. Let's try another number. Let's pick 5. I'm just randomly throwing a number out. If we plug in 5 for x, that gives us 2 times 5 minus 6 equals 2 times the quantity 5 minus 3. On the left, 2 times 5 is 10, so we get 10 minus 6. And we know 10 minus 6 is 4. We can do all the arithmetic on one side first and then do the others. Let's do that. Why not? On the right, we've got 2 times 5 minus 3. We know 5 minus 3 is 2. And when we multiply, 2 times 2 is 4. Because we end up with the same number on both sides, we know that that number is a solution. So that tells us that x equals 5 is also a solution. If you pick another number, x equals 2, x equals 100, x equals negative 999, all of them will end up checking. And that's because all real numbers are solutions. So in this case, that's why we write all real numbers. In fact, if you're ever solving an equation and the variable disappears, and you end up with a true equation, like negative 6 equals negative 6, or 5 equals 5, that is how you conclude that all real numbers are solutions, or that it's an identity.